It's Monday, July 22nd, 2024, and this is episode 314 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Oh, Dr. Mike, I am in a slump. I have not won. Well, I haven't won since 360 Vegas Vacation. That was a losing trip. But ever since that, just no winning sessions here. Now, the Hamul comps have dried up for me.
And that's funny because you were playing at a fairly high level.
I was. Now, a lot of it was odds. And, you know, it could be that Hamul doesn't rate odds, which most casinos don't. It's just that to get to the level where I was getting all that free play and all those comps, it was just when I went with you. And I was still playing the same way, right? Pass, come, and odds. So, you know, I don't know how their marketing works, but that dried up.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where they see somebody you're playing a fair amount. They want to make sure to get you there. So they're going to give you a month of a lot of free play. And then, you know, if you keep coming, they cut it off.
Now, what I've done is I've switched over to Sequan because at least for July, I've got comps coming from them. And those comps, the initial slew of comps was because of when you and I went there. Remember when you were out here and Hamul was too crowded, so we went to Sequan.
Right.
And I got a lot. Now, here's the difference. It looks like at Sequan, they may be rating me on my odds.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm getting way more in tier credits at Sequan than I was getting at Hamul. Now, their systems are different. Right. But still, at this rate, I'm going to make the next tier. I'm at their second tier at Sequan right now. Yes. And I'm going to get that next tier at Sequan within just a few more times of going. So,
yeah, you know, I kind of noticed, and we didn't go to Hamul that much in the past, but I did notice out there, it's very hard to change your status to move up.
And at Hamul, the end of your qualifying time is June 30th. I think they do it every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
And it's not a running 6 months. Everybody ends on June 30th.
Right. So, and starts at zero again.
Right. And that's what happened to me. And I'm certainly not going to hit the next tier at Hamul again.
Right.
So we're really basically going to Sequan now. And I've said in the past, if any listeners ask me, hey, where's the best place to vacation? I'm bringing my spouse, or maybe even I'm bringing my kids, but I want to stay at a hotel casino. Where should I go? I always say Sequan because I think it's the nicest hotel casino in the San Diego area. If people say to me, hey, I'm coming and I just want to gamble, I'll send them to Barona because they have the best rules. I can't really send them to Hamul because, well, there's no hotel there right now. And, you know, so they're catering more to locals now. But here's what I found. Sequan, it's much more open. You know, we've talked about how Hamul has that very small footprint. So it's kind of packed. Right. But they only have one craps table at Sequan. The plus side is, though, there's always room at that craps table.
Not a lot of people play there.
Right. No. Hamul is attracting more craps players. A downside of Sequan, only 5 times odds instead of 10 times odds.
Yeah.
But the upside, I've already talked about it. It looks like I'm earning more tier credits, and so I'm going to stay at these higher tiers for longer at Sequan.
Yeah, and hopefully get more free play.
Right. So pros and cons, you know, certainly there, but it's all Sequan for me now. It's funny because months ago I said, oh, Harris is dead to me, and it's all Hamul. And one of the reasons was because it was real craps, right? They ordered the cards.
Right.
Now they're having to shuffle them again like everybody else. So again, here's another reason, too, to prefer Sequan for maybe some low rollers. We find $10 craps there almost all the time. And usually at Hamul, it's 15 or more. So
Right. Well, I think when Hamul got busier, their craps tables minimums went up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you're kind of trapped, especially in San Diego. You can't just walk next door.
Right.
You got to get in your car and drive somewhere. And having only one craps table at Sequan and not being that busy, you know, they keep it at 10. So they tracked everybody.
And even though I'm getting really good credit at Sequan now, I wanted to mention they've got a roll to win table right next to the regular one. And there are big stickers on it saying you don't earn anything here. at the roll to win,
Yeah.
which, I think it's kind of silly. I think the reason they put that there is they don't want people doing a do we don't and trying to earn credits. But honestly, if you're comping people according to the math, it shouldn't matter whether they're doing a do we don't or not. Because when that 12 comes up, where it's a push on the don't and it's a lose on the win, I mean, that makes up for it. Anyway, we've talked long enough about San Diego casinos that most people don't care about. All I wanted to say is I'm in a slump. I know a lot of listeners have been in slumps. Am I in the middle of a slump? I won't know till the next time I play. It happens.
Right.
These slumps can go on so long that you can't believe it. I just want to let people know that. You just kind of have to deal with it. So hopefully I'll get out of the slump soon.
Need to break it. You need to
I need to break it? Is that what I need to do, Dr. Mike? Okay. I'll shoot for that next time.
Change something up. Drive a different way there. Wear different clothes.
That's right. Order different drinks. Stand at different places on the table.
Go under an assumed name. Whatever it takes, Mark.
All right. All smart gambling advice, Dr. Mike.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about a system that the Wizard of Odds posted at his Wizard of Vegas forum. Now, the Wizard isn't big on systems, but the reason that he posted about this, two reasons. Number one, he came up with the system himself. And number two, it can help lower the volatility of a craps game. On the come out roll, you're always going to be making a pass line or a don't pass bet. And every roll that's not the come out roll, you're going to be making a come or a don't come bet. And here's how you determine which one you're going to make. And let's just call all the pass line and come bets do bets. And don't pass and don't come don't bets.
Don't bets, okay.
So if you've got more do bets on the table than don't bets at any time, you'll be making a don't bet. If you have more don't bets than do bets, or they're the same, they're equal, then you make a do bet.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. So if you're starting a new shooter, you say, okay, how many do's and don't bets out there do I have? Well, you don't have any. So it's equal. You have zero of both. So you make a pass line bet.
You make a do bet.
You make a do bet, right. And then, if that wins, well, you take it down and you still have zero do's and don't bets. So you just leave that pass line out there.
So you make another do bet. Yeah.
If a point is established, well, now you've got one do bet and no don't bets. So you make a don't bet.
So you make a don't bet.
Right.
Okay.
And if that goes up to a number, well, then, they're even again. So you make a do bet.
You make a do bet. Yeah. I gotcha.
So, depending on then what numbers come off, what goes on, that's it. That's all it is. And again, it's just to kind of reduce the volatility. Now, some people might be thinking, well, that sounds awful. I would hate to play that way. Where's the fun in that? Well, yeah, I can understand that from a lot of people. If you're somebody who's kind of math oriented and you like keeping track of different things and you like doing exactly what the system tells you every time, okay, do I have more do's or do I have more don'ts, right? That's what I'm going to bet. Again, some people might just think it's frustrating and boring, but it can reduce the volatility and, you might get some good ratings out of it depending on the casino.
And let me ask you this, no odds, I assume?
He says it doesn't matter, right? And just like, again, odds don't matter in the long run, right? The casino head doesn't have an edge, but you don't have an edge either. So if you want to put odds, that's up to you. That's not part of the system.
Okay, and I assume if you were going to put odds, you'd want to make them consistent, like taking full odds or laying full odds.
I guess you'd want to make it consistent. Yeah,
right.
Sure. I mean, because then, if you decide, I'm only going to take odds on the don't and never on the do, well, that's great if things aren't going well on the table, right? They're cold dice. But he just says ignore odds for the purpose of this. So, but I would agree with you, Mike. Be consistent if you can with the odds.
And I would say that you're not going to have any really big rolls.
You can have some big rolls. It's just the dice have to cooperate very specifically with how your bets are out there, right?
Right. You have to win some do bets and then win a point and have a 7 out.
I mean, we can come up with all sorts of examples.
Right.
But, in order to make any kind of serious money, the dice have to very specifically adhere to where your bets are. But,
and also to lose a lot.
Yes, to lose
the dice would have to adhere to a certain pattern that maybe isn't that frequent.
Yeah, you have to be repeating all of your don't numbers and none of
Right.
your do numbers. And then,
Right.
7 out when you've got more do than don't out there. I'm
Yeah.
not recommending this system. I just
Right.
thought it'd be interesting to bring up in the show. And I'll post a link to his post in our show notes. So if people want to look at the conversation that's going on there, they can.
Now, would you ever play this? Other than just trying it once.
I don't know. No, as a curiosity, I'd try it once. I wouldn't stick with it. I have more fun at a craps table betting the way that I do. So,
Yeah,
again, it's more of a curiosity that I bring it up.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, for me, it would just be so, I'm not going to say boring. It would be too rigid.
Okay, well, sure. I am more of a rigid player than you are. So I or somebody with kind of the same wiring might get a kick out of doing it and just, here we go. Oh, here we go. Robotic.
Yeah, and you make no other bets like hard ways. You don't make any hot bets, nothing on the come out.
Not as part of the system. I'm not saying you couldn't, but it certainly wouldn't be part of the system, to add these. Because, again, it's to reduce volatility. And when you bring in those not just high house edge bets, but high variance bets, it's going to affect your bankroll.
I'm just sitting here while you're saying this, thinking about the last time I played. Someone I didn't know who was standing next to me said he was doing the Iron Cross.
Uh-huh.
And he said something about, I like this Iron Cross system. It's not that exciting, but when it works, it really works well. And I felt like saying, oh, okay. Anything when it works.
Yeah.
Works well.
That's right. Well, with Iron Cross, what you want are field numbers, right? You don't want the 5, 6, and 8. Those are like hedges.
Yeah.
So you just want field bets the whole time and hopefully 2s and 12s.
Right.
And for those not familiar, the Iron Cross is basically you make a field bet, say $5, and then you make place bets on the 5, 6, and 8 for $5 and $6 and $6 respectively. And the idea is that you win at least something on every roll that's not a 7. So that's...
Yeah. Anyway, but I didn't say anything to him.
Yeah, sure.
But
when it works, it works.
When it works, it works.
Boy, going all the way across on all the numbers, when it works, it works. Oh, yeah, that's true. Boy,
turning all your bets on the come out, when that works, it really works.
Oh, my God. Just betting the don't every time. When that works, it works. All right. We're not going to talk about the system any longer because we could bring up a bunch of different systems that are maybe interesting. And shoot, just go onto YouTube if you want to be bombarded by craps systems. They all have their pros and cons.
I want the one that guarantees a win every time. And really does work.
Yeah, that one, I think we're all still waiting on that one. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first. You can bet on that.com and click through our Amazon link up towards the top of the page. All right, we've got some voicemails. Let's get to them. First up is Nathan.
Hey guys, Nathan from Sacramento. I was just listening to the previous episode and your story, Dr. Mike, about the couple playing that funny way of craps where they, played the do and the don't. It just brought back a lot of memories. Back in the early 90s, I was a $12 6 and 8 player with $5 on the line, $10 odds. Well, I had learned about John Patrick's system, and for all the listeners, the maybe a little bit older ones, you might know who John Patrick is. He had TV shows. He was a gambler, wrote several books. He had been in a couple movies. He's still alive down in Florida. He's about 93 years old, but he was big back in the 80s, early 90s. Anyhow, his system was actually pretty similar to what you were talking about. And I had met this guy with a lot of money who was basically a compulsive gambler, and I talked to him about this system, and he loved it so much he gave me $20,000 to play it back, I said, in the early 90s.
Wow.
And I'm just a barely 21-year-old kid then, and this was nuts. So long story short, I say it's very similar to what you described, but one person did it, so it drove the dealers nuts. By the time you tipped to get the dealers on your side, for making them work so hard and all the minimal profits, with the going behind, and 4s and 10s were nice because, you could make a little money either way. But I played it for about 6 months, never made anything on it, with the exception of a couple times where we had did it mostly in Reno, where aces were barred, so the 3 and the 12, you got a good payoff. But like I said, 6 months, we would have made more working at a fast food restaurant, even playing big money. So anyhow, I just wanted to say I thought it was funny, how they get a chance like that as a young kid and then don't do anything with it. All right. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Well, that's a great story, but it just gets to what we were just talking about, right? There is no system that will win in the long run. I'm not familiar with John Patrick's system, but again, a do-we-don't. No matter what you do, you can't get past that house edge.
Yeah. That's the whole idea of the casino, right? They have an edge on you, and basically it's going to boil down to timing and luck.
That's something, though, that Nathan just was talking to some guy. All right, here's $20,000. See what you can do with it. That is something. Holy cow.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, John Patrick, if you were a gambler like in the 80s and 90s, you probably heard of John Patrick. He had videos out and everything. Yeah. Pretty popular. He was not well respected amongst serious gamblers. He was more of a showman. One of the problems was he had this basic strategy for blackjack that was not consistent with the established mathematical basic strategy. For example, he would say, never split 8s against a 9, 10, or an ace, because all you're going to produce is 2 losing hands instead of 1.
He was looking at it from a different angle.
Yeah, he was basically looking at it from his experience. And while what he's saying might be true for maybe a single hand, what he's not taking into account is, first of all, the computer's worked out in the long run, the best move. And we've talked about this before. A pair of 8s is a losing hand in blackjack, no matter what you do, especially against a 9, 10, or an ace. But by splitting them, you're going to lose less on that hand in the long run. And again, he was just basing it on, his experience. And human experience is not a great indicator of what should be done, especially when you can break down the math precisely. So again, John Patrick, sort of a controversial figure, but certainly was well known in the 80s and 90s.
Your memory plays tricks with you.
Exactly. You remember the times you split 8s and then even ended up having to double down on one of your splits and then losing all of them, right? Because the dealer hits to 21 or whatever.
Yeah, we've talked about selective memory in the past.
But great story, Nathan. Thanks. All right. Next up is Aaron.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Aaron from Miami, Florida. I am about to embark on a road trip to Colorado. I spend my summers in Colorado, and I'm caravanning with my friend. We both need our cars, and we're making a little casino trip out of it. It's mostly going to be Louisiana, but just having listened to your last couple of episodes talking about Black Hawk, which I spend a lot of time in, and casino patrons and workers, since you mentioned that the lodge dealers have the best sense of humor, I have a funny incident I'd like to tell you about. My friend who I gamble with, I taught him how to play craps. He and I have a very different brain chemistry. He gets very, very, very excited, and you could just tell his heart is just going and going and going. And he was very excited, and he let the gum from his mouth fall onto the felt at the craps table. And no sooner than a second, one of the funny dealers said, "No action on the gum." And we both still laugh about that story, because his gum was on the felt. Anyway, so that's a funny story, I think, about the lodge. Also, talking about casino patrons, I was wondering if you could go over the etiquette about how to put your money and your Players Club card on the table, right? We want our money kind of flat and neatly presented to the dealers, right? One thing that irks me is sometimes we see these players get real excited and they just toss some crumpled bills down on the felt. Anyway, thanks for the entertainment. I'm looking forward to hearing more of your great episodes while I'm on the road to gamble. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Eric. I like the inflection. No action on the gum. I hope that's exactly the way the dealer said it, because that's
right. Right.
Yeah, as far as buying in, so we've talked about when to buy in. Let's just go over that again. Dr. Mike, you and I always wait until it's the come out roll.
Yeah.
And, these days too, and this is thanks to the all small tall, a lot of people will wait until a 7 is rolled. So not just the come out roll, but a 7. Because again, a 7 on the come out roll wipes out the all small tall.
Right.
So there's some people who think, as far as etiquette goes, I'm going to wait till there's a 7, either a 7 out or a 7 on the come out roll, so that I don't, make a 7 come and wipe out the all small tall. Of course, that's ridiculous, but again, we're talking about etiquette. Now, as far as buying in on a craps table, what I like to do is I like to have all my bills ready to go. I don't like throwing in, here's some more, or, half of them are crumpled. So
Well, you know what you're throwing in too. Like you're going to throw in $2,000.
That's another thing too.
Some people have no clue. They just pull out a wad, throw it down. How much is this?
Yeah, buy in for whatever that is. Yeah. Again, it's allowed. It's probably not good etiquette. It is better to know what you're buying in for. Yes, have all the bills flat. You've counted them. You know it's correct. And then just put them usually in the come area, put them down with your players club on top. And again, try to do it only on come out rolls, just etiquette wise. Anything to add, Dr. Mike?
Well, I think for us, we like a game that moves along at a fairly good pace.
Mm-hmm.
So it moves a lot faster if you do it on the come out, because you're not slowing the game down. And putting in 2,000 and you know how much you got, and it's lined up neatly. It's not a ball of whatever.
Right.
That kind of thing just really slows the game down, because they got to uncrinkle all the bills. Or, you'll see somebody throw in, there'll be 3 $100 bills, and you think, oh, he's buying in for 500. And then there's a 20 and 2 10s and, something like that.
Well, I can't blame people for that. If that's the cash they have on them, as long as it's like they're all in order.
I wouldn't mind if they bought in for, let's say, $230. But for me, it's just buy in for 200. Keep the 30 in your pocket, pull it out if you need it or whatever. But just buy in for the 200, because it's so much easier. They give you a stack of red and 4 greens.
Here's something I don't think we've talked about much too. We always say, don't buy in the middle of somebody's roll. It's bad etiquette. People think it's bad luck. But another reason to wait until the come out roll is once a point has been made, the time between then and the next roll is going to be longer, because it is a come out roll again.
Right.
So people know a lot is going to happen there. So it doesn't feel like it's as big a break in the game, because everybody, it's a come out. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, a lot has to go on. Whereas if you buy it in the middle of a roll, it's like you said, Mike, not that pacing matters really as far as the dice are concerned, but people like the game to keep moving.
Yeah, and that's the time in between, like after a 7 out, that's the time they're cleaning up. That's also the time people go to the bathroom or they take a drink or they chat with their buddy or whatever. So it doesn't feel like the game's slow, because you got other stuff to do.
You got to wait anyway. Yeah.
And for me, I know this may sound weird. Some people like, well, why does this bother you so much? But I hate when somebody buys in the middle of the roll and doesn't make a bet.
Yeah, that.
If they buy in and they immediately say, okay, I want so much on the 6 and 8 or something, okay, well, they want to bet. I can respect that. But when they just buy in and then just sit there and wait for the next shooter before they make a roll.
I think most people would agree that that's the worst kind of buy-in, is in the middle of somebody's roll and they get their chips and they don't make any bets. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I remember once some guy, and he obviously hadn't played, a lot of craps, and he bought in the middle roll and he didn't make a bet. Somebody mentioned something. Why'd you buy in if you're not going to make a bet? Oh, I'm going to make a bet. I'm just going to wait and see how the table's going.
Yeah. So why
not just stand there and wait and see how the table's going?
Maybe he's just scared that, the table's going good, but I don't have time to buy in. Oh, wait, don't send him.
Well, to be honest, for me anyway, a lot of that has to do with whether I'm winning or losing.
What kind of mood you're in, I think, is what you're getting at, Dr. Mike.
Yeah. When you're losing, it's like everything bothers you. When you're winning, nothing bothers you.
All right, next call.
Hey, Dr. Mike and Mark. Hope you're doing well. This is Bipsic Man from Atlanta. I talked to you in the past when I was in the past and you were in the future. And I told you I'd report back my next trip, and I was just in Providence, Rhode Island, and went to Bally's Hotel and Casino. First, the hotel. Nice rooms, comfortable, walk-in shower. The negatives, single-ply toilet paper. That's never good.
That's awful.
It's contiguous to the casino, and the cigarette smell was in the hotel lobby. But it didn't reach the elevators or the rooms. The casino was incredibly huge. I mean, just incredible. It's like Foxwoods on steroids. And it seemed it was never ending. 10%, maybe 15% was non-smoking. There was a craps table in the non-smoking, but in the 3 days that I was there, and again, I was there during the week, was never open. The craps dealers were friendly and very appreciative of the tipping, although I think I was the only one that was tipping when I was at the table. The 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12 were buys, no automatic. Of course, that's not as good as if it was automatic. And since it was midweek, I'm guessing there was only one table open most of the time, and it was a no craps table. Always a $15 minimum. There's a sports book up on the second floor. Next to it is the diner, and the food in the diner was, give it a B-. I'll say that the credit manager, John, was extremely helpful in setting up my credit line. And the host, Angelo, I believe his name was friendly, and he gave me a $75 food credit as a welcome. I would go back there if I was up there, but I certainly wouldn't make a special trip. I only went there to watch the U.S. Senior Men's Open, which was at Newport Country Club. Just an absolutely gorgeous golf course. And I had essentially a very good time. There's a place called Champlin's up towards the coast, which was about an hour, maybe 40 minutes away from the hotel casino, where you, up until 5 o'clock, you buy your own lobster, and they cook it for you at $15 a pound plus $5. A pretty good deal. Signing off, I will call back after my next trip. Thanks.
All right, great. Thank you. We don't get a lot of trip reports from Rhode Island, so that's great.
No. I honestly, first thing I'd do when I got home, if I was him, sternly worded letter to the casino, to the governor of Rhode Island, to every person I could think of. Single-ply toilet paper in a public arena is just not acceptable.
Well, in your hotel room. I mean, you know, talk about public arena. I mean, I can understand, at the beach. All right.
Yeah. Right. or in your home, if that's what you choose, what you like, fine. But when you're in a hotel or any kind of permanent structure, let's say that a permanent structure should always have at least double ply.
When you're on vacation, toilet paper is one of your biggest friends.
Yes. Especially in a casino with alcohol.
Yeah.
Toilet paper is your friend. It's funny, as you age.
Oh, God.
How much more important toilet paper becomes when you're in your, teens or 20s.
Glimpse into Dr. Mike's life, everybody.
A glimpse into everybody's life.
All right. Yeah. If you know, you know.
Of course, I remember growing up when we just had to use corn cobs.
Really?
Yeah, there was no toilet paper.
Well, you are old.
Lynn's father always used to say that. Oh, I remember growing up with just corn cobs. You were born in 1937. He had toilet paper.
Well, I mean, if you're on a farm and your crop is corn.
Yeah, I guess.
That's a lot of corn. All right. Next up is Nate. There's some little audio issues in the call, but it's not too bad. Just a heads up.
Hi, everyone. Nate here from Atlanta. Just wanted to give you a gambling report from our trip to Harris, Cherokee. This is a quarterly trip that we try to do. Often we'll incorporate a hike. So if you do get out to this part of the country, do not miss the opportunity to go outside because it is an absolutely beautiful area. Did our hike. We went to Siler's Bald. Amazing hike. Huge grassy meadow you have to climb up. Really tall grasses. Very, very steep, but absolutely worth it. So give that one a try for anyone that might be around the Harris Cherokee area. We got the casino. My plan was to kind of ease myself into gambling. I like to maybe start with burning off my slot free play or playing some video poker, or just something to get myself primed and ready. My plan this time was to use video blackjack and try out and see if my 1-3-2-5 strategy was still holding well. Unfortunately, we got there. They rearranged the entire casino floor, so couldn't really find but one video blackjack machine that was up and running, but it was full of people. So it kind of threw me off. I played some real blackjack, lost. We brought some new people on the trip that they wanted to play craps, so even though I told myself I wasn't playing craps for a while because it's been killing me, went back to it, lost. So then I just kind of went off and took a little break, came back and just started playing some blackjack. I never really got up at all, but the 1-3-2-5 did help me get back to break even. So that was good, at least on blackjack. Started around with a little bit more craps and lost again. So lesson learned, I just really need to step away from craps for a while. It's just not been very nice to me. A really cool thing that happened while I was there, just kind of talking with some friends, planning some things. I'm looking at a trip to Vegas in August for a convention. And one of the things I like about Caesars is it really makes a small business more affordable to go out to these conventions in Las Vegas. Because instead of spending $200 a night in a hotel, and basically spending the $45 to $50 for the resort fee. The really cool thing that happened, though, is it looks like the Versailles Tower at Paris now has balconies and is about to open. And I got one of those rooms for just the resort fee. So pretty excited to test out a balcony room in Las Vegas and see what that's like in August. Hopefully I don't burn to death on the balcony. Thanks, guys. Appreciate the show. Appreciate what you guys do. Have a great day.
Yeah, those balcony rooms going to open up there. Give Cosmo a run for its money. So definitely call back and let us know how those rooms are.
Although in August, Mark?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, at night, you can go out.
He's probably going to be wearing some kind of respirator thing here on the balcony, because otherwise your lungs are going to burn.
Yeah, if you want to hear more about Nate's 1-2-3-5 system that he uses, go back and listen to episode 308. We talk about it there. Mike, Harris Cherokee. Now, when we were in Blackhawk, there was talk about, hey, maybe next year we make Harris Cherokee one of the destinations for a meetup, for the community here. And some of the feedback that we've gotten, and even Tim and Eric talk about it on the most recent episode of the Better Life 2.0, it sounds like it might not be great for an official meetup, whatever official means, only because there's really not much else to do there. Yeah, there is some hiking, but not much else. As far as we understand, it's basically just the casino in that. Yes, it's in the middle of Smoky Mountains and it's beautiful, and plus it's not really as easy to get to as some of the other places that we have had meetups.
Well, and here's the real big thing for us, Mark. It's one casino.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that you wouldn't be. Now, you could drive to the other Cherokee casino, yes.
Right.
But you're right, Mike. You're there, there. Right.
That's what the great thing about Blackhawk. There was quite a few casinos. Yeah. You could move around. Even if you have a place where there's like 3 right next to each other, at least you can move amongst those 3. Yeah. When it's just one, it is kind of not as exciting for a group meeting, right?
So again, we're not thinking in terms of an official meetup, but Dr. Mike, you and I still definitely want to go because we hear fantastic things about it. Eric, again, on the recent episode, he says he loves it. Your brother loves it. We definitely want to go. If we do it next year, what it'll probably be is, okay, Dr. Mike and I, we're going to Harris Cherokee. If you can make it, it'd be great to see you there.
Right.
Without making any plans like, oh, we're going to do this on this night and this day. And it's just like, we're going to be here this weekend. If you can meet up with us, that'd be great.
Yeah, and there's nothing formal, nothing scheduled. As a matter of fact, I should say this. I'm going to be coming out to San Diego sometime in August.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly when yet. Depends on my daughter. But we're going to come out to San Diego and we're driving. On the way back, my wife and I have been talking about going on the southern route and coming up through Texas and Oklahoma.
Okay.
And visiting our friend Paul.
Right.
Stopping by and seeing his house maybe. And then while we do that, we'll go to Oklahoma to check out those casinos.
Okay. Oh, good. Oh.
Yeah. And maybe also come up through Missouri and stuff and maybe stop in St. Louis or Kansas City, they have some casinos.
Okay. Oh, great.
There's some on the border of Nebraska and Missouri there too. We might check out a few on the way. Maybe not stay there, but at least stop in. So
Okay, so that's a tentative plan for you. You will be here in August. Again, we'll let everybody know exactly when that'll be, probably on our next episode.
Right.
And
It'll
then-
be somewhere the first half of the month, I think.
All right. And then as far as Harris Cherokee goes, we're kind of eyeing next year as a possible time, but we haven't decided on a date at all. So we'll let you know if and when we decide on that.
Well, I think spring or fall would be the best time.
I think
Summer's
so, too.
probably not too bad.
Yeah, or maybe, about the same. Who knows, right? Blackhawk was great when we were there at the beginning of June. So anyway, we'll let you know about that, but no plans yet. All right, last call.
Hey guys, Rob from Austin, Texas here. I'm a fairly new listener. Really been enjoying your show the last few weeks. I've been thumbing through some episodes. Got a trip to Vegas coming up, and to give a little context on me, I'm a pretty low roller, not because I'm broke, but because I'm frugal. I hate getting wiped out quickly, and the last couple times I've either been to Vegas or other local casinos, I've gotten wiped out pretty quickly, either at the craps table, playing blackjack, any of those things. And so I wanted to find a way to make my money last a little bit longer, have some cocktails, watch some games. And I thought about playing poker this go around as a way to go in with a little bit lower stakes. I'm not much of a poker player other than the occasional home game, so I didn't know if y'all would suggest maybe entering a tournament or doing a live cash game with low stakes, just something to make my money last longer, maybe walk away with a little bit of extra money, but just was curious what y'all thought. Thanks so much. Good luck moving forward.
Okay, good question. So I would recommend, Rob, that you play in a cash game and make it a limit game, not no limit.
Exactly.
Because mistakes that you make in poker are amplified when you're playing no limit. Suddenly your stack is gone. If you make a mistake in limit, it's not quite as bad. So you say you're not much of a poker player. Yeah, definitely recommend low stakes limit Texas Hold'em. And again, that's kind of the same problem with a tournament. You're not going to find a limit tournament out there.
Right.
All you're going to find are no limit tournaments. And the same kind of thing. If you make a mistake, you could be out of the tournament, and then what do? Yeah, I would recommend low stake limit Texas Hold'em.
Yep. That's exactly what I was going to say, Mark. Get a 2-4.
Yeah, if you can find
limit.
a 2-4, yeah.
Yeah, Texas Hold'em, that'd be perfect. The problem with tournaments here, he's looking for a way to sit, have some drinks, and make it last a long time.
Yeah.
You're not going to get as much drink service during a tournament.
That's probably true. Yeah, depending on the casino.
Right?
But yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about tournaments, let's say the buy-in was $50.
Yeah.
Well, unless you get so far in the tournament, you get nothing for your 50.
That's true. Yeah, that is another thing.
You could be eliminated quickly, and it's just like, well, I just threw $50 away.
I see what you're saying. Of course, you could still lose $50 playing in a cash game, but,
sure, you could also win $50.
Win up, down, up, down. You're right. You do have to go fairly deep in a tournament to even get your money back. That's another good reason, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, and in a cash game, you can leave when you want.
That's another thing too. Yes.
You could say, hey, I've been playing 2 hours. I'm up $20. I think I'm going to take a break.
Yeah, that's right. Where a tournament, you're stuck there. Plus, again, if you've never played poker in a casino before, I don't know that playing in a tournament is the best thing to immediately do. We stick by the low limit.
Yep.
All right, good. Good luck, Rob. Well, if you often frequent our TV listings page, and boy, I sure hope you do, you know that coming up this week on HBO, there's a mini-series called Charlie Hustle and the Matter of Pete Rose. It's a 4-episode miniseries documentary, basically about the career of Pete Rose, but it looks like it's going to have a pretty heavy emphasis on his gambling scandal. It premieres this Wednesday and Thursday on HBO, and then you'll be able to stream it on Max, their streaming service. 4 episodes total, 2 episodes airing back-to-back each night. So 2 episodes on Wednesday, July 24th, and 2 episodes on Thursday, July 25th. One of the biggest gambling scandals in American sports, and he is still not in the Hall of Fame, although certainly his baseball stats warrant it.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever getting in.
Maybe not while he's alive. There's some politics involved, and, he's a pretty arrogant guy. However you feel about him, it's probably going to be an interesting show. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this week I will be attending Comic-Con. And of course, if anything gambling related comes up, I'll let you know. That hasn't actually worked out well for me in the past. I'll come back from a Comic-Con, I'll come on the show and say, oh, yeah, there's this new TV series. It's going to be kind of have a gambling theme to it. And then it goes 13 episodes and gets canceled. So don't count on any particularly interesting information from me about gambling. But that's where I'll be this weekend. So...
Are they expecting big crowds as usual?
Oh, yeah, of course they are. And you remember last year, it was sort of muted because it was in the middle of that Hollywood strike.
Right.
And, I go for a lot of the TV and movie stuff. And so nobody was there, right? Certainly none of the actors. So, yeah, it's back to its full glory this year.
Yeah, I was thinking, having missed a year, it's going to be even bigger this year. All the stars are going to want to attend.
They'll be there. Now, as far as attendance goes, I mean, it's always huge. I don't think it's going to be any huger.
Yeah, that can't go any higher because they reach max limits on all those buildings.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. From Nathan, from the International Brotherhood of Gobbling Donkeys, from Brian Dancer, from Brian and Sarah, from Jason, and from Chris and Josh over at Crap Vegas. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from listener David. Karma donation for our annual trip to Vegas in 2 weeks. Gamble it wisely. Thanks again for all the great hours of listening entertainment. Oh, well, good luck on your trip, David. Thank you very much. Hey, at the top of our webpage, you'll find a link to our store where you can buy You Can Bet on That merchandise. Also, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at Facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Got anything for us, Dr. Mike?
Well, I got 3 things, Mark.
All right.
In order of importance, or let's say reverse order of importance.
Gotcha.
Number one, most of the baseball teams have played somewhere around 100 games, so there's only like 62 left.
Yep.
It gets exciting for me. And then football training camp, right?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I mean, preseason is like a month away.
Yeah. It's not even a month. Yeah. Not less than that. Like 2-3 weeks away for preseason football. And that's a great time of year because you got baseball, football, and I love that. And college football starts even sooner.
Yeah. All right.
Number 2 thing I want to mention is the Olympics.
Oh, my gosh. It starts the same weekend as Comic-Con. I am going to, my head is going to explode.
Friday night is the opening ceremonies.
Right, and some of the soccer matches are before that.
Right. And my daughter's birthday is Friday.
Oh, my God.
She, wants to maybe go up to Mall of America or do something. I'm thinking, it's the opening Olympics. We got to...
just stay inside.
Not that the opening ceremony is that great, but I want to be ready.
I know what
I want to be ready for Saturday.
Got to be ready,
for the first events. And third, and probably most importantly, is I want to challenge everybody out there to try and remove some angst out of their life.
All right.
Just one little thing. I was telling Lynn the other day, we were driving, I said, people have so much angst. They get so agitated, irritated, upset about things. Get those out of your life. Forget it. Whatever it is. It's easy to say.
Yeah, I know.
Hard to do. But pick one thing, whether it's politics or your work or something. If people could just eliminate just a little bit, I think we'd all be happier and treat each other nicer. And the world would be a better place.
It's sort of human nature, at least for a lot of us, to be negative. And I understand that because for whatever reason, bad things sort of jump at you more than good things. But if you can remove negativity, I agree with you, Mike. Easier said than done. But all right, so you're challenging everybody is what you're saying.
Just try it.
All right.
It was just something I was reading in the news, and somebody was upset about something, and I'm like, it's not really that big a deal. just let that go and move on.
Yeah. So the next time on the show, like when you say something that I just find actually horrific, either from a logical standpoint or just an ethical standpoint, or just you're super annoying, I should just let that roll off my back, is what you're saying.
Just let it roll off and just say, oh, that's just Mike.
Okay. Yeah,
he's an okay
guy. All right. That's good advice, Dr. Mike.
Just relax and enjoy your life. If everyone did that, we'd have so many fewer problems. And that's why I suggest the casino life. It's very calming.
It's very calming. Most people find the casino life quite calming. All of their troubles melt away when they're in the casino. Your advice is good, Mike. I like that you brought it around to gambling because it's a gambling podcast, but I don't like that that's probably not great advice that the casino is going to take negativity out of your life. So let's just leave it at that.
Okay. Well, maybe they won't take all the negativity out, but how you look at things will determine if it's positive or negative.
Yeah, no question. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Mike. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk again in a couple weeks.
Good night.
Anyway, I'm counting on you guys now to take it easy on Jerry. Be nice. Maybe let him win a few hands.
Don't worry, honey. We will.
Will we?
Are you nuts? This is poker.